and welcome to Pittsburgh City Council's Standing Committees meeting for Wednesday, May 8th, 2019. My name is Kim Clark Baskin, and I'm your Deputy City Clerk. With us today, we have our sign language interpreter, Logan Showalter. The following is a list of legislation up for preliminary approval by Pittsburgh City Council. The Finance and Law Committee, Reverend Burgess is the chair. We have a deferred paper, Bill number 1338. Ordinance amending, supplementing, and correcting the Pittsburgh Code, Title II, Fiscal, Article 1, Administrative, Chapter 219, Operating Budget, so as to add contract and bid information requirements to fiscal impact statements and to further correct numbering and formatting. This bill is sponsored by Councilwoman Teresa Kell Smith and co-sponsored by Councilwoman Erica Strasburger, Deb Gross, and Darlene Harris. We have a new paper, Bill number 1620. Resolution authorizing, pursuant to Chapter 210, Acceptance of Gifts to the City, of the City Code, the Mayor and the Offices of Special Events, Department of Public Safety, and the Office of Special Programs, Department of Parks and Recreation, to accept an in-kind donation of various holiday decor and supplies from Highwood Properties, owners of PPG Place, valued at $8,000, for the purpose of the transition of the annual Light Up Night Gingerbread House display to the City County Building in December 2019. Public Works Committee, Councilwoman Kell Smith is the chair. We have a new paper, Bill number 1623. Resolution authorizing the Mayor and Director of the Department of Public Works to execute relevant agreements to receive grant funding from the Pennsylvania Department of Community and Economic Development Keystone Communities Grant Program to renovate the Jefferson Recreation Center and the adjacent park, and further providing for an agreement and expenditures not to exceed $402,000 for this stated purpose. The grant requires a match from the City of Pittsburgh in the same amount of $402,000 for this stated purpose, which brings a total project cost of $804,000. Bill number 1624. Resolution granting unto DAH Partners, LP, their successors and assigns the privilege and license to construct, maintain, and use at their own cost and expense a handicap ramp with handrail and landing at 6620 Hamilton Avenue in the 12th Ward, 9th Council District. Intergovernmental Affairs Committee, Councilman O'Connor is the chair. We have a new paper, and it's Bill number 1621. Resolution authorizing the Mayor and Office of Management and Budget and the Department of Public Works to enter into a professional services agreement with Oxford Development Company to serve as property manager for 412 Boulevard of the Allies. That concludes the reading of the legislation up for preliminary approval. Thank you and have a wonderful day.
Welcome to Pittsburgh City Council Standing Committee's meeting of Wednesday, May 8th, 2019. Our first order of business is public comment. Members of the public who want to come before council, you'll be giving 3 minutes. When the yellow light comes on, you have 1 minute to summarize, and when the red light comes on, your time is expired. I will take this time to remind you, although you probably will not listen to me, that the rules of council state that comment is limited only to matters of concern, official actions, or deliberation, which are or may be before council. That's really the only thing you should be talking about. Profanity will not be permitted, and order will be maintained at all times. Will the first speaker please come to the podium?
Dr. Ronald N. Miller, Pittsburgh City, Oakland, Chicago, Lakefront. Global Intelligence Society candidate for President 2020, globalintelligencesociety.org. My passport reads Jerusalem, Israel. Anybody else here? I am the winner of the University of Pittsburgh Israel Heritage Research Award. And by the way, the Knesset does permit profanity. A concern of council is anti-Jewish anti-Semitism reflected in Mr. O'Connor's 30 April 2019 Holocaust Center of Pittsburgh proclamation that included the term righteous Gentiles. Gentile is from the Latin gens, nation. So a Gentile is a national and genocide nation murderer. Jews in Europe 100 to 1900 CE, the Common Era, unusually used Gentile as divisive, but usually non-Jews did to indicate that they were of their nation nationals. Jews were not one of us. Burn the other, and they did. So in 2019 CE, for a Jewish American representing a Jewish genocide center to affirm the word Gentile for non-Jews, Jewish Americans, is to emphasize, in my view, the very division that led to the Nazi murder of European Jewry. Its contemporary use dramatizes the questionable idea of distinctiveness generally, that Jewish identity is more important than American gentility or nationality. Its use by an individual, specifically as a Jew, signals to non-Jews in the USA that Jews may be more loyal to their Jewish gen group than to the U.S. American gens or nation. I think this use is not gentle. Righteous. The use of righteous with Gentiles drives the queer ideology of divisiveness. Its use in U.S. common culture deepens division. We the people is we, but not you. So burn, baby, burn. By dividing one individual and a set of individuals, the righteous, from the other individual or set of individuals, the unrighteous. Who gets to decide that? It does so by dividing superior, more informed, inflamed definers of what righteous means. Jewish individuals get to do that, contrasted with or from distinguished from inferior, less informed determiners of righteous. Does that mean non-Jews? This use is not right. And I think for this council to permit it is also not right and will be challenged in court.
My name is Yvonne F. Brown, and Mr. Burgess, what you said about we must speak was just on the table, that's a lie. Now, you know I don't usually use the word lie, but that's an out-and-out lie. Years ago, Mr. O'Connor tried to stop us from historical sites that we the people couldn't bring it. It had to be you at the table had to do it. Dan Cohen said, I don't care if they want to come down here and talk about PT flies, we can do it. So citizens, please understand what they're doing. He done went with Vic and this president wrote something so legal that it takes a lawyer to understand that you can bring it down. They say if it ain't on the table, my girlfriend Wendy has college education too. I said, Wendy, after he said what he said, can you bring down what you want? Can you talk about what you want? And she said, no. Do you understand when you start off the way you do? You did it before when you was trying to work with Second Chance. You remember the man was molesting the children? You were sneaking with your neighborhood. This is Mr. Bring it up. You can bring all of this. When I come down, I don't lie. Yes, and I told you that your community, did they know that you was trying to work with this man and he had not went to court? Sandusky had not went to court. Oh yes, you can look like all you want. You did the same thing down there at the housing. He took and told me that the grass would grow when there was asbestos. Wasn't there asbestos? Didn't that bring asbestos down there? He said, Miss Brown, the grass would grow. I said, the kids is up there dying. You know, you make me angry because you're supposed to be a man of God. See, God don't like ugly. He ain't fond of pretty. You're gonna pay for it, and I know it. Now, this woman here, I asked her to come down. She's running against Petite. She said she's not allowed to come down. This woman says she's running, and Petite, I'm against him, and I will tell you why. At one time, this is Kim Williams. Kim Williams, she's running for district judge. Petite is too close to the police, too close. When the woman said that when she grabbed Miss Brown and started choking her, and she said, oh my God, this is gonna be a killing, and pulled her off of me. He asked me, why did I bite her like that? I couldn't breathe. Do you know he said we keep stuff up there in the neighborhood. Now, I'm speaking out against him because a young man could have went to jail. I got attacked, and he took her side. She said, I love Miss Brown, or I was how much, and he said, how do you feel? I said, I'm glad she's gone, because she's out the building, I don't have to run. He said, I see what you mean. Consider Kim, consider Kim.
Next speaker, please.
Good morning. My name is H.P. Jackson, Howard Phillip Jackson, Hazelwood Bound, Center of Life, Black Political Empowerment, BPEP. The topic is, the doctor was talking about Jews, and that's a great thing, and what's happening in this world, in this country. Matter of fact, my grandson got a Jewish name. His name is Noah Brown. But let's reflect on the reality here, you know. As a child is born, he's so innocent coming in this world, all right? You know, you had Confederate mothers back in the day teaching their children on the structure of hate. You know, there's been different hates all in America, but the culture of America, African Americans helped build this country, all right? And we had people that had chances after Lincoln got assassinated, you know, to redevelop, and cautions just kept on coming. You even had a president that had the birth of a nation come in to go ahead and restructure and reprogram people's thoughts of dominance, all right? A Hitler philosophy, by the way. And you look at this country now, and you look at our children, and you see the chaos that's going on right now. That's why it's so important to go in the middle schools, Head Start programs, and teach our children about love, all right? See, it's the way a child is brought up. The structure is so crazy now. It's set up like Solomon and Gomorrah, a reincarnation, all right? And there's so much hatred now, and there's no truth. So what is the truth? You know, we're adults, we're grandparents. Well, most of us here is grandparents, excuse me. And what it is, they have to have that direction on like what is right and wrong, the structure of color. You know, this country is a melting pot now, but it's still that structure of supremacy. You know, and then that hatred's going on because of different nationalities and religions. It's so crazy now. You can't even have your children safe in high school today because they're shooting, all right? For what you see on television, subliminal messages, the games, everything. We have to have that human touch structure because look at that technology today. Everything, the child even got a phone when they're 8 and 9 years old. Come on now, okay? I mean, look at the reality of where we have to step up and make some rule changes in order to go ahead and structure this city and help save it. we have to go ahead and interact with the Board of Education to go ahead and help teach our children what's right and wrong and about our American history. Thank you.
Next speaker, please.
Bismillah. My name is Rafiq Brookins, and I reside in the city of Pittsburgh. Petition to impeach City Councilman Ricky V. Burgess pursuant to the City of Pittsburgh Home Rule Charter, Article 3, Section 320, and Article 8, Sections 806 and 807 for mental incapacity, incompetency, neglect of duty, malfeasance, mismanagement of office and public funds, and for many other corrupt acts and or practices, as well as the total neglect of the community and economic development of the District 9 communities for over the past decade at least. We, the undersigned, are concerned citizens who urge our leaders to act now on our petition requesting a public hearing. We, the qualified electors who reside in the city of Pittsburgh, request City Council to conduct a public hearing relative to the above-mentioned petition for impeachment. We, the undersigned, acting as qualified electors who reside in the city of Pittsburgh, are submitting this petition demanding the immediate impeachment and removal from office City of Pittsburgh City Council member Ricky V. Burgess for total and complete incompetency, neglect of duty, malfeasance, mismanagement of office, and for many other corrupt acts and practices. This is an impeachment petition being submitted by we, the qualified electors, pursuant to the Home Rule Charter of the City of Pittsburgh, Article 3, Section 320, which states that council shall grant a public hearing to residents of the city on any matter if they deliver a petition requesting a public hearing to the city clerk, providing they deliver a petition meeting all of the requirements to the city clerk. Council shall schedule the public hearing within a reasonable time after the petition is received by the city clerk. And Article 8, Section 806 and 807, which states that 806, grounds for removal, impeachment. Every elected official or officer pursuant to impeachment proceedings may be impeached, suspended, or removed from office in the event of mental incapacity, incompetency, neglect of duty, malfeasance, mismanagement, or for any corrupt act or practice. 807, impeachment proceeding. Impeachment proceedings may be initiated by presentation of a written petition to the Court of Common Pleas signed by at least 20 qualified electors who reside in the city of Pittsburgh. This is our intention with this petition, to impeach Ricky Burgess, who has been the Berlin Wall, I like to quote, between economic development and District 9 communities that benefit those communities and no development whatsoever. He has been the sore in the side of these communities. And all of you have sat there and oversaw this, but you didn't oversee these communities. So we're seeking to impeach Ricky Burgess for his complete neglect of these communities. And I would like your support as well, because you know very well that these communities are underdeveloped and they haven't been tended to in years. And only recently are they being attended to because of these outside developers coming in. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next speaker, please. Seeing no other speaker, we'll go into the roll call. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Cargill. Here. Ms. Gross. Here. Mrs. Harris. Here. President Kraus. Here. Mr. Lavelle. Here. Mrs. Kell Smith. Here. Reverend Burgess.
Here.
7 members present.
Thank you very much. First committee of the day is Finance and Law Committee. We have a deferred paper.
Bill 1338, ordinance amending, supplementing, and correcting the Pittsburgh Code at Title II, Fiscal Article 1, Administrative Chapter 219, Operating Budget, so as to add contract and bid information requirements to fiscal impact statements and to further correct numbering and formatting.
I need a motion.
Motion to hold 2 weeks, please.
Need a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposers, nay. New paper, please.
Bill 1620, resolution authorizing pursuant to Chapter 210 of the City Code, the Mayor and the Office of Special Events, Department of Public Safety and the Office of Special Programs, Department of Parks and Recreation to accept an in-kind donation of various holiday decor and supplies from Highwood Properties valued at $8,000 for the purpose of the transition of the annual Light Up Night gingerbread house display to the City County building in 2019.
Need a motion? Need a second?
Second.
Any conversation? Ms. Harris?
Is this going to be used? Who's here for this? Nobody?
You want to hold
Who's
it?
here to talk about the gingerbread house?
Yeah.
It's Park and Recreations.
You want to hold it?
A lot of folk. I do not know. You want to talk about this?
I just have a question.
Do you want to ask it today, or do you want to ask it after the meeting, and therefore you
I'd
can?
rather ask it today, because I
We
have
wanna
a
call
lot of
somebody
other.
Can you get somebody from Parks?
Should I get someone?
We'll get someone.
All right, so we'll move on. The invoices are on the table. I need a motion for the invoices. Need a second?
Second.
Any conversation about the invoices? No conversation. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposers, nay. Next is, we have P cards. There are P cards on the table. Need a motion for the P cards? Motion to approve. Need a second?
Second.
P cards are on the table. Any conversation about the P cards? No conversation. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposers, nay. It takes us to Public Works Committee. Ms. Kel Smith is the chair. We have a deferred paper.
Bill 1603, resolution authorizing the mayor and director of the Department of Public Works to enter into a professional services agreement between the city and Winston Design Development for architectural and engineering design services for a series of interior remodels for 6 fire stations within the city for not to exceed amount of $407,872.66.
Need a motion, Ms. Smith?
I'm going to make a motion to hold 1 week. I just want to say I appreciate that DPW has been reaching out to the union and the administration of the fire department, and I just want to thank them for working through these concerns together as responsible adults. I just really appreciate that they've really made an attempt to address whatever concerns there are. So with that said, I would just say that I'm going to hold it for 1 week to allow them to, they're meeting on Friday again, and I believe that they'll come to some resolution on the concern.
Thank you very much.
So motion to hold 1 week.
Now, properly moved in second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposers, nay. All right, that, one abstention. All right, it's held for 1 week. That brings us to a new paper.
Bill 1623, resolution authorizing the mayor and director of the Department of Public Works to execute relevant agreements to receive grant funding from the Pennsylvania Department of Community and Economic Development's Keystone Communities Grant Program to renovate the Jefferson Recreation Center and the adjacent park, further providing for an agreement and expenditures not to exceed $402,000 for this stated purpose. The grant requires a match from the city in the amount of $402,000 for this stated purpose for a total project cost of $804,000.
I need a motion, Ms. Smith.
Motion to approve?
Need a second. Any conversation? No conversation. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposers, nay. All right, it takes us to the next
Thank you,
paper.
Director, for being
Bill.
here.
Thank you, Mr. Director.
Bill 1624, resolution granting unto DAH Partners LP their successors and assign the privilege and license to construct, maintain, and use at their own cost and expense a handicap ramp with handrail and landing at 6620 Hamilton Avenue in the 12th Ward, 9th Council District.
Need a motion.
Motion to approve?
Need a second.
Second discussion.
Discussion. This is a handicap ramp. I know what this is. It's a handicap ramp for Chip Burger on Hamilton Avenue in my district.
I understand that, but I've been trying to get an answer for a question related to this.
Related to this particular project or handicap rights in general?
Handicap
Can I
ramp.
just ask, is Chip Burger a resident? Or
He's an owner. I'm not sure if he's a resident. He owns several pieces of property on Hamilton Avenue between Fifth Avenue and East Liberty Boulevard. He owns a number of, he owns a business.
You said it like I should know, and I didn't know.
No. not that you would know that he's a businessman in my district that owns lots of businesses and lots of property. He also owns Construction Junction, that building.
Okay.
He owns Construction Junction, so he owns a number of buildings in the area. Is there anyone here to talk on the wheelchair? The people came in.
We're
Is anybody
done. We're
here to
done.
talk about the wheelchair ramp? There you go. Thank you very much. Ms. Harris has a very pressing question
Yes.
about the handicap ramp. Ms. Harris.
Yes, Richard took care of these, God bless his soul, and since then, it's been a circle. Are you now taking care of the one-step program and the handicap ramps?
No, the handicap ramps are still with City of Pittsburgh Planning. We just
Which
issued
one?
a permit.
Which one?
I'm sorry?
Which one?
Planning Department.
Name?
I believe the position was not filled yet.
That's unreal, really unreal.
I'm Jeff Scalick. I'm the Deputy Director of Department of Mobility Infrastructure. Thank you. Sorry.
Thank you very much. Any other conversation?
Okay, so who are we getting to do handicap ramps right now, since that position's not being
Well,
filled?
DOMI issues the permit for the developer or the person to build
Yeah,
the
people are
handicap.
trying to get permits.
Correct. So right now, the permits are through DOMI.
Okay, you,
Yes.
okay.
So, I'm just gonna say, with that said, I'd rather them stay with DOMI. I don't know why they're going to city planning. So, that's a conversation I'll have with the administration.
Okay.
Any other conversation? No other
You just
conversation?
get in circles.
No other conversation. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposers, nay. All right, that takes us back to
I have one.
the gingerbread house, which is interesting in of its own right. We'll go back to the gingerbread house. Ms. Harris has the floor. If Grant, if you'd please come, that'd be great.
James. James is coming to the table.
Thank you for bearing with us. We apologize for
One of
not
the
having
greatest
someone here.
historians in the city.
I appreciate that.
I'll teach you. Okay, my question is, gingerbread house, is it just a gingerbread house, or are there more ornaments that we're receiving?
Go ahead. I was going to say in particular, these are the things that they sat on. Previously,
Please
at
introduce yourself to
Sorry,
the public.
I'm
I'm
James
sorry.
Hill. I'm the mayor's executive assistant.
I'm
Grant Caitlin. I'm assistant chief of staff to the mayor.
Thank you. I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, it's of course. I'm sure you remember at PPG Place, they were on series of risers. So this amounts that PPG and Highwoods are just giving us the tables and various risers that they sat on there at the display.
And the reason for this legislation is that PPG is renovating their winter garden and into a wedding venue, and so it was relayed to us by the Downtown Partnership that this is an opportunity they wanted to see continue on as part of the holiday season. So the city agreed at their request in Highwoods to take over and accept this $8,000 in in-kind donation.
Well, a lot of the
Pending your
residents have been asking about if we're going to use downstairs and decorate it up for Santa Claus to be there also. Would there be any possibility, if we utilize this, that we could put Santa Claus downstairs?
I haven't thought too deeply. I think the PDP was taking a lot of the supplies too. I'd have to check up with them if they were taking all of those related items. We were specifically just taking the risers and snow and things that house the gingerbread
I'd like
display.
the answer to that, because there's a lot of people that have been asking about Santa Claus, the real Santa Claus that was over at I want to call it Horns, and it's not Horns, Macy's.
Yeah.
So if you could get me a little bit of information on that,
Yeah,
would
we will
be-
find out where the
or
Santa
at
Claus
least
display is
look
going.
into it, because there were people asking me to look into it last year.
Of course.
Thank you so much.
No problem, man.
Anyone else? Yeah, my father taught me a long time ago that the real Santa Claus is an African American. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposers, nay. We have already.
Thank you, guys.
We have one more bill, and in my house, I tell my kids, it's me.
Bill 1621, resolution authorizing the mayor and the Office of Management and Budget and the Department of Public Works to enter into a professional services agreement with Oxford Development Company to serve as property manager for 412 Boulevard of the Allies.
I need a motion. It's Mr. O'Connor. He's not here. I need a second. All right, any other conversation?
I just
Start with Ms. Ms. Gross first, then Ms. Smith.
So I don't know who we have here to talk about this one, but I'm curious about, it says a total of $900,000 plus an additional $4,150,000 for the operating expenses of the building and the management contract. And so I'm really curious about what that entails.
I'm not sure. I guess it would be someone through Office and Budget. Grant, does anyone here have any sense of that? I don't know if anyone does. I think it's probably an Office of
Chris, do you?
Management and Budget, but I don't know.
Chris is here. He can speak to it.
I know there was an RFP. That part I know. It was an RFP. It was, they had several respondents. They had a recommendation, and this was the contract, the person that was selected. That's as far as I know. So I know a couple of people who applied for it.
I have the text file, and I'm reading from the text file.
Chris Hornstein, Assistant Director of Public Works Facilities. I suspect, and I don't know for certain, but I suspect that the $4 million in question is probably for the life of the building and not necessarily for like an annualized cost. That seems excessively high for an annualized cost.
Annualized, yes, it certainly would be, but that's for a 3-year period, right? And then would there a possible 2-year extension and an additional possible 1-year extension?
Correct.
So we're talking over $5 million, just over $5 million for a 3-year period. And we don't know what was in the RFP.
In the RFP, we asked them to present their costs for management as well as estimate costs for operation of the building. So cleaning, security were covered. We asked for those costs, cleaning, security, regular maintenance, building operations, so like a stationary engineer like we have in this building.
And do we subcontract for our stationary engineer? Did we RFP for that stationary engineer for this building?
That was part of the RFP package.
No, for the city-county building.
No, that person is on staff.
Is an employee of the city of Pittsburgh.
That's correct.
But we don't have the capacity to hire a stationary engineer for 412 Boulevard of the Allies?
No, we do not. Not currently at this time. Like the positions that we have open are filled, and those individuals manage this building, municipal courts building, and portions of Mellon Square.
So against city county building, the municipal courts building,
Correct.
and also Parsons of Mellon Square.
Yes,
Not
they'll help
the whole
with
square.
Well, it's the fountain operation. We need a stationary engineer when it's operational to visit the site.
I see. But it still begs the question, why we just don't hire a stationary engineer?
So, of course, I have a suggestion. I mean, we can have this conversation here, but maybe what we should do is have a briefing, hold this bill, have a briefing for council, and then we can work out all the issues and bring it back next week. I don't think it's that time sensitive. Is it time?
Exactly. I mean, I don't recall us, I think at the issuance of while authorizing the RFP would have been another time for this discussion. I don't recall the vote on authorizing an RFP
This was
for
actually
the management agreement.
I apologize for my tardiness. Peter McDevitt from the Office of Management and Budget.
Thank you.
This was an RFP that was released by the Housing Authority.
So it's not our RFP, And so we never saw it. And so we never had this discussion, this public discussion on whether or not there should be a
An
subcontracting
RFP,
of the management of this building. Did I get that right?
Correct.
Fair
Because it
enough.
went through the Housing Authority.
I think
I'm gonna
there
make a
are
motion to
lots of
hold.
questions.
I think that you're touching on a lot of concerns that we all have. I think we should have a conversation, more in-depth conversation, so I'm gonna make a motion to hold 1 week.
Second.
I think
Is that
some
enough
of
time
us
for
still
briefing?
had questions.
So
Probably not.
But we're putting these people on the.
So it seems to me, first of all, there's a motion to hold on the table, which I'm going to go through in a minute. I think that there's lots of questions, and we need to have a very, so that we can talk intelligibly about this. I think this is, and I'm not sure even the right people are at the table to answer our questions. So there's a motion, all right, it's been moved and properly seconded for hold. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, there's nay. It's held for 1 week.
I hope we talk in public about this instead of behind closed doors. I think the public would like to know about this.
I think we do both.
And I agree. I do agree, but I also think that we need some additional people at the table. That's all.
So-
Exactly.
So we have exhausted the agenda, I believe. President Kraus?
Thank you. So, just so that we're all clear, that we understand, the councilman and I were having a conversation up here. This is a pretty big deal here. And I think it behooves us all to sit down, have a briefing, understand what it is. But then, of course, we're going to bring it back to the table, and we're going to discuss it in the light of day, which is what we do. That's following sunshine. But I think it would behoove all of us to understand exactly what it is, at least foundationally, that we're being asked to consider, and then come back and discuss it.
If you remember, this is going to be tri-party agreement. The building is 1/3 Housing Authority, 1/3 URA, 1/3 City of Pittsburgh, basically. And so that all three of parties would have had to agree on the leasing agent. I think that's what we're doing.
And just for the record, the URA did vote to approve this
Approve this?
contract. Yeah.
But city council
No, that's fine. I'm just saying
did
for the
not
record, the
vote
URA
on
did, that's all.
that.
And so
And if there's supposed to be 3 adjourning, then we should be part of this,
Absolutely, yes.
and we weren't.
Yeah.
So, any other conversation? If no conversation, I need a motion.
Thank you for trying to come to the table.
A motion
Of
to
course. Yeah.
excuse the absent member, approve the minutes, and adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed,
Thanks,
nay. We're
everybody.
approved.